Hello, welcome to Steel City Business, the Sheffield business podcast. I'm James Marriott. I'll be your host as we explore the vibrant business scene of the glorious city of Sheffield. Now, in each episode, we meet someone from across the Steel City to learn more about them and, of course, their business. I run my own business. It's called Sound Media, and it's all about helping brands to amplify their voice through audio marketing. If you want to find out more, then head to the show notes. There's more information there. And this podcast is supported by the lovely people at The Curious, creative agency in the centre of Sheffield. Now, if you'd like to get in touch with us, maybe to suggest a guest or for any reason, then there are contact details in these show notes, or head to steelcity.business. Right, that's enough of that. Let's meet our guest.
Hello, I'm Daniel Bumby and I'm the Managing Director of Simoda.
Welcome to Steel City Business. Nice to be here. We're in your meeting room on what can probably be described as the warmest day of the year so far.
It's lovely.
It is. It's. I mean, we're into double figures, so that's warm enough.
Yeah.
It does feel like it's amplified slightly in your meeting room.
It is really warm in here, to be fair. So
fair enough. Tell me more about Simoda then, please.
So Simoda was born back in 2019. So I had a vision a long time ago in terms of building a business, and I wanted to build an organisation which would focus on technology. So in the sector that I'm in IT services, the traditional business model has always been to have a sales team who get paid commission for selling something to a customer. Now, when you come to technology, I've always found that as a real challenge, because there's that many different technology options available to businesses, that how do they know they're choosing the right one if it's swayed by how much money the salesperson makes? So I decided that I wanted to do that some years ago. So the journey took me along. I was a director at a company locally, wanted to try and develop this sort of organisation. However, what happened was I sort of, it wouldn't go in their business. It wouldn't really work. So I thought, do you know what? I'm going to do this myself. Fair enough. And then that's where Simoda was born. So I went to about 5 or 6 meetings, customer meetings, and every single meeting I went to, every outcome or desired outcome for the meeting was that the business wants to simplify or make things easy. They want to modernise their environment and look at getting results quickly. So that's where Simoda comes from. Simoda. Simplify, modernise, accelerate. So
that in itself is pretty simple. I like that.
So it's an outcome-based thing. So I really wanted to build a business that was more focused on technology in our sector and not on profit. I truly believe that if you have the right strategy, you engage with businesses in the right way, profit will come anyway as an organisation. It surely will. Yeah. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in business. Yeah. But it's not the be-all and end-all. It's not the first thing that's on the mind. What should be on the mind is solving our businesses' challenges or addressing their challenges and achieving objectives for them. And we do that via technology and product solutions and services, rather than the salesperson's profit being the major thing right at the front. And I believe no one else does this in our industry.
You've answered about 4 of my questions in one go there, so we'll end up repeating some stuff later on, but that's fine.
Yeah, cool, no problem.
So what kind of people do you work with then? What kind of businesses do you help?
So we work with businesses across the whole of the UK. They range from micro businesses, so ones with 2 or 3 people in there, just starting up, startups, all the way through to large manufacturing organisations, some public sector businesses. But predominantly anybody who has either an IT department or a desire to develop their business by using technology. So that sort of means everybody.
And what services do you offer there? Because kind of, IT, technology is such a wide-ranging kind of heading now, isn't it?
Yeah, so we've got what we call our stack, which is 7 areas really. So we're classing that as modern workplace, so end user computing, so any devices that you have. We also have infrastructure, so that would be server storage, networking, anything that runs large applications. Then we're looking at cybersecurity, got to protect everything.
Yep.
Communications, data intelligence, network services, which is things like cabling, CCTV, door access systems, and then a range of services that sit underneath that. So professional services, such as if an organisation needs something installing, supporting, or developing, we can do that as well internally.
That's quite a wide range of stuff then that you do. How do you kind of specialise in so many different things? That must be quite a challenge.
It is, it's definitely a challenge. But we've got specialists, what we call subject matter experts in each of those areas.
Right.
So the aim of the business was not just to have a sales-focused organisation that go out and build relationships and sell stuff. We need to be experts in our field. We need to be specialists and knowledgeable in those areas. So for each of those core areas, we have a subject matter expert that runs that area. And also we have a raft of partners and relationships and vendors as well that work alongside us to deliver those outcomes to customers.
The next thing I was going to ask you was, I'll read this exactly as I've phrased it when I wrote my notes, which was, so kind of IT technology companies, kind of 10 a penny, there's loads of them.
Yeah.
So what do you think makes you different? Now, you've kind of already answered that in some ways, but let's just kind of, I guess, refocus that. So this might involve a little bit of repetition on stuff you said earlier on, but I think it's kind of worth clarifying, because there's a couple of things that I just want to explore around this. So what would you say if you, I don't know, let's say you're at an event and you get talking to someone and they say, oh, what do you do? And you go, oh, we do IT and technology. And they go, oh, another one of those boring, then. Another one of those. Everyone does that. And you go, no. Well, I'll tell you what makes us different. What comes after that?
I tend to lean on technology first, and that's the strategy around the no commissions piece.
Yeah.
Because nobody else does it. It's a differentiator for us. But also, something that really does get missed is the no bullshit approach. We really have that, which is we're not afraid to say no to people.
Yeah.
So if an organisation wants to do something and we believe it's not the right thing to do for our expertise, then we will actively say so. We don't hide behind anything. Sometimes we can come across as quite arrogant in some stuff that we say, but we're doing this for a reason.
Yeah.
And we want to give our knowledge out, but also as well, I think it comes with a passion. So I can actually categorically say that the people in our team are really, really passionate about Simoda and about what we do and how we work. And because we don't have an operational model like other people do, we're not repeating anything else anybody's ever done. I think if you bring the culture, the passion, the people, the no bullshit approach into it, and I think that makes Simoda stand out massively. That comes down to having the right people on board.
I want to talk about kind of the team that you've built and stuff in a bit. The reason I kind of wanted to touch on that thing about what do you think makes you different is because it seems to be working. I'm aware you're kind of winning awards left, right and centre at the moment. You seem to be kind of building a really great reputation. This is kind of like a hard thing for anyone to sort of do, but give us your verdict on where you think you are in terms of the business right now. If this was like a school report. Yeah, so you had to grade yourself.
This is interesting because I always talk about Simoda being a 4.5, nearly 5-year-old business.
Yeah,
but we're a 10-year-old organisation. Really, we've got challenges that 10 to 15-year-old organisations have. So we're working in sectors and in areas and dealing with deals and opportunities that I wouldn't have dreamt of when I first set the business up. I wanted a steady growth. We've achieved a lot more than that. And I think the real sole reason behind that is having a firm strategy, having the no bullshit approach, and getting the right people on board. The team that we've got are phenomenal. Everything that we do is through the team.
Yeah.
So we had the Business Awards back in December. So I took the team up when we won the Best Technology Business Award, which is phenomenal. When I took the team up, and the thing I said there is we've gone phenomenal growth. We've gone from my back bedroom to 35 staff then to 6,500 square feet office in a short period of time, and it's all down to them. It's all down to the team. I think we've got a fantastic team, fantastic people. We've got a great strategy. So I'm confident that what we do and how we work will be successful. And I don't mean to sound arrogant when I say that, but I do believe in our strengths. And if we continue to do what we're doing and we continue to focus and focus in the right areas with the right technologies, we'll be fine. And I think one area as well that we're really, really strong in is we try and focus on not just your standard technologies that everybody else does, but we also like to look at innovative products and solutions. So something that's different, disruptive products and solutions. We've all seen in the marketplace, disruption leads innovation. So the likes of Uber, Uber don't have any vehicles. Airbnb don't have any locations themselves. They're a disruptive business using technology to drive their market. We want to help businesses achieve that. And I think that if we do everything else that everybody else has done, we'll always see the same results as everybody else. I want us to be different.
Oh, okay. You kind of talked there about effectively 10 years of growth squeezed into sort of 4.5 years.
And the stress.
Well, I was going to say that I imagine that comes with plenty of challenges, plenty of sleepless nights and sort of, challenging moments along the way. Yeah. And any of them that you want to share with us today?
Yeah, do you know what? I've had plenty of sleepless nights. I've had looking through, the order book and think, right, okay, so when are they going to pay us? All right, so this company pays us on 90 days. This company pays us on 60 days plus 10, the end of the month. Having to match all that and make sure that we can pay wages and we can do the right stuff and we can grow. But I think one of the key things that we did right at the start of the business was we committed as a team of directors and a board team that we were going to invest back into the business. So I'd left a relatively well-paid job to set Simoda up, and I thought, this is the time that we need to reinvest. So every time in the first year we made really good progress, good profit, we reinvested back in, and again reinvested back in, and we've constantly done that. So I think that's the key thing for me in terms of a messaging of, yes, the sleepless nights and stuff have been worth it. We're nowhere near where we want to be with the 5-year plan, but if we carry on doing what we're doing, then we will achieve that 5-year plan, and I'll be really happy with that.
What's your kind of take on the technology, the IT sector as a whole at the moment?
It's interesting, let's put it that way. I think the whole AI phenomenon is going to drive a lot more innovation and disruption within the marketplace. So machine learning, AI has been around for a long time, but now the generative AI piece and how that's all coming together and how businesses can effectively utilize that to drive efficiencies. But then there's also, we're seeing a lot of challenges around businesses that have moved to things like the public cloud may have moved 3-4 years ago, and now they're having to scale back because of costs. So there's a massive opportunity to do the right things within those businesses. Plus, if you've got somebody who's actually been sold to, and they're being sold something that's profitable for that company, but not necessarily right solution and right thing for them, then there's a great opportunity for us to be in there and work better with them. And our channel at the moment is interesting because the big boys seem to get bigger.
Right.
The smaller ones seems to get more agile. So for us, agility is going to be a driver for us.
Yep.
So I remember somebody saying once to me years ago, it's not the big that eat the small, it's the fast that eat the slow. And I think that is us 100%. So we're not going to be a big boy. We're not going to be a multi-billion-pound organisation. But if we can do stuff really well, really quickly, adapt to changes and technology changes and industry changes, then we'll succeed. And if we succeed, businesses succeed.
Would you want to be one of those? Would you want to be a multi-billion?
No, well, I'm sure the missus wouldn't mind. But,
good answer.
Yeah, exactly. Just in case she's listening. I'm sure she wouldn't mind. But honestly, no. I want to be a successful organisation. I believe we are. I want to continue to be a successful organisation. My dream would be eventually to see the business being taken over by the staff internally.
Right.
And I'd love that as a vision. Obviously, that's not always capable and possible, but from a strategy point of view, I'd love that to happen. Would I want to be a big, massive organisation? No. If I wanted to be, I'd go and work in one. That's not what I want.
Do you feel that you have stuff in common with other kind of business leaders and tech leaders and things like that? When, you know, if you're away at conferences and stuff like that, do you feel that you and what you've built here, do you feel it fits in with that?
No,
it was a leading question.
That's a really interesting question, to be fair.
The impression that I got from what you've said is that, you know, it genuinely does sound like you are trying to build something that's different to maybe what they're trying to build.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I went to an event last year in Las Vegas with a vendor called HPE, and we sat around in a table talking about the challenges that each of the businesses have. We've got multi-billion-pound organisations there. They all had challenges in being able to remunerate and pay their staff.
Right.
For moving to more of an OPEX-based as a service model. I got asked the question, what's your challenge? I went, it's definitely not that, because we don't have that issue. Mm. We are as a service focused. We will push as a service as much as we possibly can, because the salespeople aren't commission-based. It all reverts back to that. But I do think, we are different. So if I am at an event or I am somewhere where there's other IT organisations, we are different. I don't want to be like them, but I don't want to be an IT organisation where they are just focused on selling what they want to sell to achieve profitability for the shareholders. Yeah, we want to be profitable. We need to be profitable, but it's got to be done in the right way, with the right technologies. I'm a bit of a nerd and geek at the same time as well, so I do get interested in the detail of technology as well.
I appreciate.
Some of the leaders that I'll probably peers that I would work with and look to, they probably don't. Whether that'll change as we get bigger and better, I don't know. I hope not, because I really enjoy getting into the detail.
Slight change of direction now, bit of a change of pace. As someone who is a little bit obsessed with space and with NASA, I really appreciate the fact that your website has quite a kind of a heavy spaceman, astronautical, don't know if that's the word, kind of influence going on there. What is that intentional? What's the relevance there?
100% intentional. I'm the same. I've had a fascination with.
I changed my cap before I came here today. I was wearing just a normal cap, and I looked at the website. I thought, I'm going to put my NASA cap on, so I came NASA branded, just for the occasion.
Anything aerospace or space itself, I've always had a fascination with, but the whole concept of time and space, and I just really interests me. You know, I was, and we'll get onto this later on, but I was garbage at school. I was never interested in anything like that. Now I've suddenly got a thirst and a passion for knowing about space, like just watching random stuff about space, and I think the whole process of technology driving our mission into space, and we're a technology business. It just sort of matched, and I really love the imagery.
No, it's great. I mean, I'm obsessed with space, and I sometimes sit there and I give myself a headache thinking about it, because it's just like it's never ending. Space, it's just like we have no idea what's out there. And I've got friends that are talking about, Celebrity Big Brother, and I want to go, nothing else matters other than space, and there's planets floating about out there, and where does it end? Does it ever
2 billion
end?
galaxies that we can see.
What happens when it does end? What's at the other side? I'm just like, nothing else matters. So I feel like we could do a podcast just about.
Well, I'm a massive Star Wars fan as well. So when I grew up, I was a massive Star Wars fan, which, to be fair, over the last sort of 2 years has turned into an obsession in collecting Star Wars things, so full-size helmets and all sorts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's costing me an arm and a leg at the minute, but I'm hooked. I'm absolutely hooked.
If you could go to any planet, which would it be and why?
It'd probably be one that we don't know about yet. I've always fancied the whole chaos of the sun.
Right.
Do you know, I know you'd never be able to go there, but the whole chaos of how much power and energy there is there.
Mind-blowing, isn't it?
The stuff that you think, that's powering our entire world right now. And we harness that energy to do our own stuff now. Well, wow, Imagine what it'd be like closer to that, apart from very hot.
Well, we said at the start of this, like, it's a little bit warmer today. That's because of the sun.
Because of the sun, yeah, it's beautiful.
What age were you at when you realised that the NASA logo is the greatest logo in the world ever?
Very early.
Excellent.
Very early. I went to, last year, I went to Houston, to the Space Centre at Houston, and did the tour.
Very jealous.
Phenomenal. So I see all the activities and the moon rock and all this other stuff. I came home and I was so excited to the missus. I was saying, look at this. She went, we never went. You do know that, don't you? I'm like, oh, thanks for that.
I'm going to change tack again, otherwise I think we'll be talking about space for the rest of the podcast. You mentioned earlier about the team that you've got here. Just expand on that a little bit then and tell me a little bit more about the team that you've built. So from a director's perspective, so I started the business with Jason, who's commercial director. Jason is a phenomenal person when it comes to building relationships. Absolutely. I've never known anybody as good as Jason at building relationships. So I thought if he can build relationships really, really well, I can do the strategy piece, which I'm really, really good at, I believe. Yep. What else do we need to build that team out? So I need somebody who's got a level head, somebody who can make a decision and also remind me that a decision we need to make is not always the right one that I'm going to say. So we brought a guy in called John Delamore as our service director. So I'm going to tell you what I call him, but it's the company whatever. And that's because he grounds everybody, okay, which is exactly what we need. And then a guy called Lee Ragg, who I worked with for a long, long time, for 20 plus years. Lee what he doesn't know about technology is not worth knowing. And he also is phenomenal at building relationships. But he's one of these guys that would, if you want to know something, he will go away and find the information for you at the right time, the right pitch for you, as well as having a knowledge of being able to do the stuff. So he's a bit of a phenomenon. We call him the saviour of Simoda. There's a long story to that, and probably not got time to tell. But then in terms of building the team, we've been quite fortunate because obviously I've been in the industry for 20 odd years, so we've been able to call on people that we know, which is really important, people that we trust, people we know can do a phenomenal job. And now we're getting to a stage now where we're starting to bring fresh new people on board. Whether that's in commercial, whether that's technical, or whether that's in support and operational piece. So we've probably gone through enough of the people that we know, and now we're getting to how do we bring new people in? Yep. And what I want to do is I want to try and also bring younger people in as well. So the younger people have got better ideas. They're more wired up to have ideas. So we talk about being able to bring an idea to the business, and if it's not right, be agile to change it quickly. But you've got to have the ideas in the first place. Yeah. So we've got an apprenticeship program that we're running from the IT support perspective. Oh, bro. And then we're also looking at starting an apprenticeship program through like an academy. So let's build an academy of younger people that want to come in and want to learn about the business, and then they'll go one or two ways. They'll potentially go technical, or they could potentially go commercial. Okay. And we'll help them either way. But we want younger people to come in and drive that. People that have got something where they might like technology, but they're not too sure which way to go. So rather than being right, I'm definitely going to be a software developer. They're probably not right for us. But somebody who maybe wants to be consultative, somebody might want to do more technical, then let's help them along that journey. Because the people that we bring in over the next 6, 12, 18 months, 2 years, are the ones that are going to drive this business forward. Yeah, absolutely. And if we look at I say this a lot, we look at our decision makers in our customers, they're getting younger as well. So we have to meet their requirements. We have to know how they operate and how they work. Yep. And unfortunately, as we're getting older, it is more difficult to understand the younger people. TikTok, as an example, we do loads on TikTok at the minute. Wow. If you'd have said that to me at the start of this year, you'd have been doing more I'd have been doing TikToks. I'd have been like, what? What are you on about? No chance. But yeah, we're doing TikTok stuff now. We've done 2 today.
crazy.
I do appreciate the fact that all your team here have their own profile on the website.
Yeah.
And it talks about what they love and what they hate. I don't know if you're aware of this. I'm not going to try and take this down a football route, but just so you're aware, I did the counting 4-2 to Wednesday.
I know. Oh yeah, it's shocking.
Just making you aware.
I mean, if we look at the logo, we've got red, black, grey, because you can't have white on white. So, and it's I do get the ribbon every now and again, but do you know what? I'm not prejudiced. It's if you're right for the role, I don't care what football team you support. You might not get any progression. I'm joking, but no, you can't help it. Wednesday are the biggest team in the world, apparently.
It's absolutely true. Absolutely true. Why do you hate butter?
I always have done. I think my mum said it was when I was 2-year-old, I fell. I used to eat everything up until I was like 2.5 years old. And then I fell up my nan's steps and put my front teeth
right, okay.
through, and then I stopped eating everything.
Oh wow!
And ever since, I just don't can't
don't like butter.
Yeah.
That was for the benefit of listeners. That was taken from your profile on the website. The word culture came up a couple of times earlier on. And it was something that I wanted to explore because we have a mutual friend.
Yes, we do.
I don't know if he will thank me for saying this, but it's nothing bad or anything. So our mate Dave, I mentioned to him a little while ago that I was coming to see you.
Yeah.
And he was saying, do you know what? I've got to say, what he called you Dan, by the way.
Yes.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's fine.
What Dan's done there, because he's been on a couple of like kind of team night out and stuff like that with you. He says
he's tagged along.
What he's done there is remarkable. The team that he's built is remarkable. He says that the culture at that place is just phenomenal. So that's Dave's words,
Dave.
not mine. How do you feel about that?
I feel really proud. Culture's a big thing for us. We're doing quite a bit of work on it again at the minute because culture never stops. It's always evolving. So our culture when we first started was very relaxed. And then because we got more people in, it started getting a little bit more rigid. We're now going back to a bit more of a relaxed culture again. What I find that culture for me, the most critical and important part is that's what we need to adhere to on a daily basis. So if you're a salesperson or if you're on the help desk and you are, let's say, you're taking calls on the help desk as an example, your target is to achieve a particular SLA. You don't achieve that SLA, but you meet the company culture requirements, i.e. collaborate, etc. Then, you should have a talking to. But for me, if you're sitting with the company culture, you will achieve. It might just be you've had a bad week. But if you're against the company culture, i.e. you don't want to collaborate with people, you don't tell them if we've got any issues, you don't make people feel welcome when they come into the building, that's against the company culture. That's a hard point for me. If you're against the culture of the company, it's wrong. And that's why I believe that everybody in the business really believes in that, really believes and drives the culture. And I think that shows when you have a team togetherness. Outside of the business, we'll go for a beer or we'll do something, and we do have a good team togetherness.
That's awesome. That's really
and it's for me that's really important and critical for us to progress further as we go. I've had a couple of people that have sent CVs in and stuff, people that I've known for a long, long time, and I just thought, you know what, they probably don't fit culture-wise.
Yeah,
they're really good at the job. But if they don't fit from a culture point of view, then I can't do that. I can't risk the culture we have as a business because that is Simoda. It's what we're all about.
It's dead important, isn't it? Because it only needs one bad apple that can kind of derail the whole thing and bring everyone down. And I'm kind of fascinated a little bit by culture because I kind of describe myself as a bit of a glorified freelancer.
Yeah.
So I work with lots of businesses, go in, work for some that I work with regularly, some that I go and work at for a few days or whatever. So I see a lot of different places and everywhere goes, we're really proud of our culture.
Yeah.
And it's become one of the things that people probably bullshit about the most. Every business says we've got a great culture.
Yeah.
And then when you probe a little bit further and you're like, you're just good at PR, that's all it is. And I find it really, really fascinating about how deep that has to go for it to be genuinely true.
It's got to be everything.
Yeah.
Everything. So as an example, I would be more concerned if a salesperson, if let's say a salesperson didn't hit their number or their expectations, I'd be more concerned if they they went against the company culture.
Yeah.
We collaborate. So when we talk about collaboration, it's collaborate first. So as a business, we collaborate to achieve the outcome, either for us or for the customer, etc. That cannot happen in a business that is a selfish-led business. So we have to work together as a team, everybody. And to do that, you have to have trust. We start with trust. We get away from the fear of conflict. So you can say whatever you want to. If somebody out there's got something to say to me, say it. I'm big enough, ugly enough, and old enough to accept it if we've done something wrong or it's not right. We need to have that across everybody. And I believe that it runs really deep into the business. We can do a lot more. We can do a lot better. And that's why, as I say, because culture is always engineering itself, we're working on new culture points at the moment. So how do we do different things? So as we adapt as a business, the culture will ultimately adapt with us? But it's everything that we do.
It's really good to hear that. Let's talk a little bit about Daniel. I'm going to call you Dan. I feel like we're friends now.
You can call me whatever you want about Daniel or Daniel. Do you know what the funny thing is, actually? That my mum used to call me Danny.
Yeah.
All my football mates used to call me Danny. I used to do DJing under the name Danny. I've got a load of friends that call me Dan. I do some music producing under Dan. And then I've got Daniel, which is my proper name, which sounded weird for the last 6 years when people have called me Daniel, but I'm starting to get used to it again.
Kind of like a business name, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm not bothered. Do you know what? I'm not bothered. Call me whatever you want.
You touched on earlier about when you were at school and that not being a kind of a particularly sort of natural environment for you. Tell me more about your journey.
So I worked in the music industry to start with. So I used to work for a company called Wow Mr. Modo. I used to look after the band called The Orb. Loved it. Yeah, I loved it. Loved it. A couple of years there. Left. Needed to go and get a proper job. Worked at the post office for a bit. And had nothing to do with the IT system arising before anybody
Just about to make a note.
I know. Nothing to do with that. Now I worked at the post office doing general postie work. So I used to work in a thing called a registered locker where all the registered posts used to go for sign for stuff. It was a great school. The people were brilliant. The job was great. I just wanted something else. I ended up going into sales just because it just happened. I just fell into it. Worked for Norwich Union. Went from there to another. So then got my first technology job.
Right.
That was a big leap. Worked in that technology job for a fair few years, got then sort of headhunted to go and build a corporate sales team in a business. And then ended up being a director of a company and then obviously going through this process of Simoda. But my journey's been really interesting from school because I was garbage at school. I was a trier. Right. Every now and again, if he concentrated, he'd be able to do it. If I was passionate about something, I could do it.
Yep.
And I was interested in it. And then back in 2012, I think it was. So I knew I'd had something not wrong, but something not right. So then I decided to go and have some tests, and I got diagnosed with ADHD.
Oh, okay.
My son got ADHD. Everything he did that they were talking about, I'm thinking, that's me, that.
Right.
That's me. Yeah. And not focusing in class and this, that, and the other, being daydreaming. That's definitely me. But then when I find something, I'll hyper-focus on something, and that's why I've done well with certain things.
Yeah.
So I got tested and went through the rigmarole of having almost a year's worth of appointments to get diagnosed. Didn't really change anything other than actually just confirmed some of the things that have happened. And ultimately since then has made me really passionate about helping people with the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
To prove that you can achieve. I mean, you look at my desk at the minute, I've got more things you can fiddle with on my desk. You can shake a stick at. I'm a massive list person, so everything's got to be on a list.
Yep.
I need to be organised that way. I'm sat here fiddling with that right now. And this is a bottle top that you can't see. And I think if I can do it through not being very good at school, being focused and talented in certain areas, but having a good work ethic, once I've found the right career, I believe anybody can do it.
The school thing's really interesting because school tries to make you passionate about things that you don't care about, doesn't it? Like, and it's such a wide range of things. Like most people would say, I wasn't very good at school, but there'd be one thing that were like, oh, I enjoyed that. So for a lot of people, it might be PE they enjoyed. For me, it was English language writing was the thing that I enjoyed at school. I was all right at school, to be fair, but so many people that kind of talk about not being good at school, but then there's always that one thing, and yet so many people through life end up having to do like a job or do something that actually they're not really passionate about. And I just think that must be so difficult because for me, finding the thing that I was really passionate about that I can do for my job, it doesn't really feel like work, does it, when you're doing something that you're really passionate about? But so many people that never find that thing that allows them to just throw everything into that thing that they're really passionate about is it's really interesting. That
artwork for me. So art was something that I really enjoyed. Oh, brilliant. I could draw, I could paint, I could do stuff, but I just found it really interesting. The whole creative piece of being able to think, right, okay, what have I got to do now? So that's when I went down the music journey years and years ago, and so I do like music production and stuff, and that's helped me massively in my business environment because it enables me to switch off. I use my creative brain at home when I'm doing the music stuff. Then when I'm in work, the creative brain enables me to focus on what we need to do in the future. And I've got people that work in the team that are interested in here and now. Yeah. So it's a good mix and a good model.
Sense. Yeah, okay. Two things left that I want to ask you. One that's a bit weirder than the other. Taking everything that we've talked about into account, particularly thinking, we talked a lot about space and how fascinated we are with that, but also thinking about things that you've said that make me think, do you know what? You're a decent person.
Thank you.
What do you think of Elon Musk? Because he sits so in the middle of all those things that we've talked about.
It's interesting because from an entrepreneur, phenomenal. You can't fault the guy for what he's done. I think his concept of what he wants to do and how he wants to do it sometimes leave a little bit to be desired. Yeah. But do you know what? I don't care what he does if in terms of his personal life and everything else. It is what it is. I think how he's programmed himself to get the right people around him that have got the right focus. Fair play. And he's sending cars into space, mate.
I know.
What else? Come on.
That's the fascinating. I've got so much. Like I talk about being fascinated by space. He's just doing it, isn't he? He just thought, I'm gonna build my own spaceship. Then that's what I'll do. And he's done it. To be fair to him, but then I also see, when it's kind of leaked some of the emails that he sent. We talked about the culture thing, and I'm like, I don't know if I'd want to work for him. He seems a little bit like I don't know. It seems.
This is the interesting bit when you look at somebody like him at the top. Then if your leader at the top is the one that everybody refers to as in the business, which they do with them, and that person does come out as a bit of a tit, then yes, would he? If he wasn't like that, would he actually be the person that he is?
He has to be like anyone who ends up somewhere like. There have to be in some way be like a flawed genius. Somewhere it's just where is the flaw?
There's a fine line between genius and insanity.
Absolutely. Final thing then, and this is what I always ask people at the end of the podcast, and we've so many things that we've touched on in the last kind of 30-40 minutes. Is there anything that you're particularly like really passionate about that you've never really had the opportunity to sort of talk about publicly before that you'd like to talk to us about?
I think I mentioned it there around the helping people with the cognitive disabilities that I and my son and other people I know have. The coping mechanisms and stuff. I'm very open to talk about it. Mental health. I have challenges in my life and stuff. And I think that if I can give something back that helps people, and think that actually, do you know what, they can achieve. then how good is that? That's one of the best things in the world, right? So I'd love to get involved in helping people, even if it's just advice, or even if it's just just being someone to talk to. I think I'm really passionate about trying to help people with that because tend to get pigeonholed into a box of that person's got ADHD, so that must mean that they can't concentrate, they are useless at X, Y, Z. No, it just means they've got a special power in certain things.
Yeah,
we've got a special power, and I think it's really important that we make sure that we keep that special power to the front. And the reason why people get pissed off and stressed out about working in particular environments is because they don't meet their needs and requirements. And I think that's really, really, really important.
Amazing. Very well said.
Thank you.
Well, I feel we've been on a real journey over the last 40 minutes. Some awesome stuff that we've talked about. I wish you every success for the future, and thank you for joining us today.
No, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks very much for listening to this episode of Steel City Business. It's been really lovely to have you with us. Now, you know how this works. If you've enjoyed it and you want in on future episodes, then just follow us on your podcast app or on YouTube. The show is very active on LinkedIn. Just search for Steel City Business and come and connect with me as well while you're at it. Big thank you to The Curious for helping make this podcast happen. There's loads more about the show at steelcity.business, and you can get in touch by emailing james@steelcity.business. And hey, if you're in business in Sheffield, then, well, why not put yourself forward as a guest for a future episode? And of course, we're always open for a good chat about how audio marketing could work for your brand. Until next time, thanks for listening.